Hi guys, today I want to share a video with you about Gnar, champion which currently hit the PvE. I want to talk about his skills and how he's gonna be played probably. His abilities are, the passive is called the Rage Gene, which makes him a Fury based champion. He generates Fury over time, and hitting 100 Fury will cause Gnar to transform into Mega Gnar. Transforming changes Gnar's abilities. Gnar and Mega Gnar get different benefits in their respective forms. And what these benefits are, we're gonna go over them right now. Gnar gets range, flat move speed, and attack speed. Mega Gnar gets health, which incredibly scales well into the late game. Armor and magic resist, health regen per 5, and bonus 80, which is added onto his base 80, so it doesn't count as bonus, more like an add to his base. His Q is Boomerang Throw, a skill shot which is divided in two parts. The first is a colliding skill shot which scales with full AD and applies a slow. The second is a pass through which returns to him and deals half the damage. If you pick this boomerang up, you will have 60% CDR on it. If not, you will have to bear a high CDR. His Q in Mega form is a colliding skill shot called Boulder Toss. It's AoE damage and applies a 2 second slow. It scales with 120% of his full AD. The stone remains on the ground and can be picked up for CDR. His W in normal form is Hyper, which is an on-hit ability which applies every third consecutive attack on the same enemy and deals percentage health damage plus a flat amount. After this, Gnar gets a decaying move speed buff. And this whole thing can't be blocked by spell shields. His W in monster form is Wallop, which is a linear AoE spell. It has a short cast delay, but after this, he will ram his hands into the ground, dealing damage and stunning all enemies hit. His E in normal form is Hop, which gives him an attack speed buff. This is an AoE ground targeted gap closer, and if a unit is hit, no matter if it's ally or enemy, he will jump again in the direction. If a unit hit was an enemy, it'll get damaged and it will be slowed shortly. It scales with percentage maximum health. His E in monster form is Crunch, which is a ground targeted gap closer and applies AoE damage. Enemies in the ability center are also slowed briefly. You can also hop if you use it to engage your passive. His ultimate is called Gnar. The passive on Gnar is he gets more move speed of his W Hyper, and the active on Mega Gnar is all enemies around him are knocked into one direction and dealt physical damage and are slowed. If they hit a wall, they'll receive 150% damage and are stunned instead of slowed. So this is incredibly powerful if you utilize it right, and I think this can be a game-breaking ultimate. Again, if used right. So with all these said, now I want to go over the builds and how I think each build influences your playstyle. There are some items you will opt for are DPS, Sustained, Mobility and Health. So I think Youmuu's will be pretty overpowered on him as it gives attack damage, move speed and attack speed steroid, which will all help you to deal more damage. The next is Triforce, which actually gives you even more attack damage, flat and percentage, movement speed, attack speed, extra damage after an ability, and health, which scales so incredibly well with this champion that it's actually a must. Blade of the Ruined King also gives you attack damage, attack speed, life steal, sustain, physical percentage health damage on hit, and the move speed active, which also is pretty cool. Okay, Ravenous is like pretty different. It just gives you everything you need, but it's only for melee, so only for your ultimate passive form. So the builds I think could go through are these here, which is the DPS. Obviously you want to have mini Gnar as often as possible, and even if you go into ultimate Gnar, you have enough health to survive, and you have the GA obviously to deal enough damage. The Meta Gnar Bruiser build is really bruiserish, and actually you can change Bloodthirster for Ravenous if you also want to have the shield on your little Gnar. And it's actually pretty self-explanatory. The utility Gnar build obviously is only utility tank, and you see you have enormous amounts of health, you can shred armor, and you will also have percentage damage again for your mini Gnar. So if you enjoyed the video, please feel free to leave a like or even subscribe. It does not cost anything, but it helps me out a lot. However, thanks for watching.